Hello everyone, Jeff here. So over the next few months, I'm going to be turning my attention to really putting a focus on getting Antilia into the community hands again and letting people start testing the game. There's obviously some work that still needs to be done as far as the fishing gameplay, but I think one of the bigger challenges is just getting kind of over that hurdle and getting people testing the game again, getting the launcher working and updating the project and all that sort of thing. And to that end, I do want to kind of explain a few things and communicate a few things so that everyone is on the same page and knows what to expect. So the first thing is that there will be a kind of two branches of Antilia. There's going to be the demo and then there's going to be the full game. Nothing unusual there. The difference between these two versions is that the demo will have, of course, a slightly limited set of content, although I would like it to include all three of the races, Tepi, Saki, Reisui, all being playable. It won't include all of the landscape area of Antilia. It'll have kind of like just some focused areas and stuff. The other difference will be that the demo will not include multiplayer and it will not support user mods. So if you want to do those things, if you want to play multiplayer or you want user mods, you're going to need the full game. And then secondly, when it comes to multiplayer, I would like to run some test multiplayer servers. We need to test multiplayer, of course, but these will almost certainly be reserved for people who are backing the project on Patreon. It just makes sense, especially since this is not an MMORPG server anymore, and there's going to be kind of limited space on these servers. So I just want to put those things out there. There's no reason to rush off and back the project on Patreon right now. None of these changes are going to affect for some time, but I did want to put them out there just so that it's not a surprise when these changes do occur. So let's go ahead and take a look right now at some of the latest changes I've been making to the Antilia Editor. So I had hoped this week that I'd be able to give you kind of a demonstration of how to use this editor. I'm not quite far enough along that we can do that quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that. But I will kind of show some of what I do have working. I've got it working now to the extent that we can now create new projects. A lot of settings in here. When I do the more in-depth review, I'll go over in greater detail what some of these settings mean and what they're for. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and load a project. We'll load this new game objects project. And just kind of quickly show you, I've got this new interface I've been working on. I've got some nice stuff going on as far as like having a configuration window. Antilia Link is working. I've got these panels in the resource browser. I'll go ahead and pull that up. Here's a resource browser. It's still a work in progress, but you kind of get the idea that it's coming along as well. Now I'll go ahead and load a design, load the wood cutting axe here. And you'll forgive me, there is a pretty big storm moving in, so I'm kind of trying to get through this kind of quickly because I don't know how much longer I'll have before I have to shut down here. I think hail's going to be hitting the window here pretty soon and we're going to be done. So as you can see with this resources window, when you pop it up, it actually resizes the tool that you're working in, and this will come into play more later. For the editors we're working on now, we don't have to use it too much. So it's kind of just a placeholder for now. I do have the simulation object editor starting to work and do some nice things. You can go in here and edit, say, the material, that sort of thing. So this is all becoming much more functional, and that's really good because it makes it much easier for us to get things done. And as you can see, I can, unlike the previous Antilia editor, I can now open multiple files of the same type. The Antilia editor that we're using for the MMO, you can only have the game object editor open with one file at a time. Same with the mesh editor, it can only be opened once with one file loaded. But you can see now I can actually have multiple instances of the game object editor open, switch between them. That'll make it easy to cut and paste between different objects and stuff like that when we get to that point. Well, the things I don't have working yet are these publish and play buttons, and that's going to be kind of my next focus, is tying all of these things together, getting it so that we can hit the play button, it'll launch Antilia with your work in progress project preloaded and ready to go, so you can kind of play test, and then you can hit publish to generate the content pack that you would distribute within the dev team. That would be for us to help just kind of put all our work together. For this case of modders, hitting publish will let you basically publish the mod into like a zip file kind of thing. So I got quite a bit of this working as far as loading and saving. The save button over here works. And I'll just continue adding to it. There's a nice create design window that lets you create a new design. Now a lot of these editors aren't really ready or working yet. Like The tree editor is kind of starting to function. The mesh editor doesn't function at all yet. It's just kind of a placeholder. Same with this animation editor. We're going to create a new animation editor here soon. But you get the idea. You can create a new design, give it some, there's a little bug there I just noticed. But you can create a new design, give it a name and a title, and start working on it. And then when you're ready to test it, you can hit play, jump into Antilia, and see how the work is going. So that's going to be it for now. We'll take a deeper look at this later on. And I'd like to actually do a nice little demo, a demonstration of creating a new project, working through creating a couple objects, play testing and publishing, kind of go all the way through it and give you a sense of how you would make mods with the editor. Well, that's going to do it for this week's update. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you have any questions or comments, especially concerning some of the topics that I introduced at the beginning of the video, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will try to get back to you and give you a reply. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. A special thanks goes to this month's Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the project, you can do so by visiting www.patreon.com/Antilia.